Welcome to the Yak Chat, the ultimate podcast for the everyday angler. Whether you're paddling, pedaling, or motoring in the serene waters, or casting your line into the heart of bass territory, we've got your fishing fix covered. We're about to embark on an adventure that goes beyond the surface of the water. As we count down the minutes to launch, get ready to dive into the world of kayak fishing, bass angling, and the art of turning your kayak into the ultimate angler's haven. This isn't just about catching fish. It's about the joy of the outdoors, the thrill of the chase, and becoming the best angler and dad you can be. So, whether you're a seasoned pro or just getting your feet wet, join us on this journey as we navigate the waters of kayak fishing and fatherhood. Stick around, gear up, and let's cast off into another exciting episode of the Yak Chat, hosted by Bearded Dad Fishing.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Yak Chat, where we talk about all things kayaks, all things fishing all the time. My name is Jay with Bearded Dad Fishing. I'm glad you're here with us today. This is episode 17. So we're rocking and rolling, man. I'm excited that we got 17 episodes after today under our belt, and it's been super fun. As always, this podcast is streaming live on YouTube and is available on demand on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So if you can't watch now live, you can listen later on your drive while you're at the gym or whatever. So if you're watching live, though, I do want to hear your questions, comments, and smart remarks. And if you're listening later on, drop a review or comment wherever it is that you're listening. So fair warning, my kids are wild, and usually my wife's here to tame them during bedtime. And if you're watching live, you see I have a door right over my right shoulder here. There's a 50-50 chance that my son Jesse might just kick down that door and run in here. And if that's the case, we're just going to roll with the punches. But I just wanted to give you guys a fair warning. That might actually happen. So hopefully not, because I busted out the melatonin, popped the melly, and hopefully he's sleeping. But we'll see what happens. Anyways, I'm excited about today's talk. If you didn't know, we're in the holiday season. Like, this is it. We're here. Halloween is in the rear view. Thanksgiving is next week. So that said, holiday season means it's time to buy gifts. And if you're anything like me, aka a great husband and a great dad, you're going to buy your gifts last minute, just like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jingle All the Way. It's just going to happen. So today we're talking gifts, though. We're talking kayak fishing gifts. We're talking to Andy from the Bearded Paddler. Super excited. If you know anything about Andy, he knows what's up in the kayak fishing world. So we're talking about kayaks, accessories, baits and lures, all of it, man. So if you have a significant other, now's the time to make sure they're listening, put the volume way up, crank it up, and let's see if, drop some gems and drop some hints for them to buy you some stuff. So again, this is an interactive show. If you're watching live, get your questions ready, as well as those dad jokes, because at the end of the show, we'll be going over all the submitted dad jokes in our funny or crummy segment. So if you guys already know, if you're not part of the Facebook group, Kayak Fishing Dads, make sure you guys join us. We're on Facebook. We're on Discord, which honestly, I haven't been on in a whole while. So I got to check it out. But we are on there, and I know a lot of the guys be talking on there. So join us. And if you are watching live, do me a favor and like this video. Give it a big thumbs up, because it helps us get found in the algorithm. And if you're listening on any of your podcast platforms, leave us a review wherever you're listening. That helps a lot. All right. So that's it for news. I don't even have any news. I call this like the weekly catch up. That's the weekly catch up. But I'm excited to talk, man. So let's get Juan up here. What's up, bro?
What's up? Yo, what's going on?
Yo, you got like that sexy radio voice right now.
What?
I don't know. It sounded kind of like you're trying to serenade us.
Oh, please. Yo, you mind if I give a little shout out real quick?
No, do it.
Yeah, well, if y'all can see, I got a little bit of gear on today. It's a little bit different than norm. This is from my official sponsor, Wife Calling Me Home, and
Hey,
he's doing some guide services out of North Carolina, Lake Tabor and Lake Waccamaw. I hope I'm saying that right. Uh, if I can, I'll get the details over to Jay, and hopefully he can add those in the description. If not,
yeah, we'll drop it in there.
yeah, if not, I'll make sure it comes through next
Yo,
time.
stand up so we can see that shirt.
Oh, okay. Yeah, how about I back up a little bit? I don't
Oh,
want
there you go. Oh, that's fire, bro.
I was in my undies here, but
Oh,
yeah,
okay, you got pants on now. That's good.
I got shorts on because it's ridiculously warm up here in the Northeast yet. So
Yeah, I feel that, bro.
crazy out right now. But yeah, so I just wanted to give him a quick little shout out, showing me love. My first official sponsor.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Yeah, we actually have to get out with him. We're gonna get him on the show here probably like right before springtime. He's
Yeah,
on the Susquehanna River, is like his main joint. So if
yeah,
you're out here in the Northeast, I mean, the Susky is a destination fishery. So that's your guy to talk to, bro. Like we're trying to get out with him hopefully early next year. I've never been out to the Susky. Shame, but that's gonna change.
yeah. I've been out there once, and I don't think I was in the right spot, but it'll be interesting. I have to, you know.
Yeah. At least
It's-
if you go out there and you skunk, we only drove an hour and a half. Not like some of these guys be coming from like 20 hours.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. It depends where you're coming from. I think we can't be complacent because it's like it's right there.
Yeah, we spoiled
So
with that, bro.
yeah.
So
We're
let's
slacking.
yeah, for sure, bro. Let's get Andy on here. What's up, brother?
What's going on, guys?
Yeah.
How you doing, man? It's been a
Uh,
minute since we had you, I think, on episode like 2 or 3. We're on 17
it's
now.
been a minute. I think me and Christina were both on. Ironically, we were in we were in another hotel. We were down in here in Central Arkansas, getting ready to do the New Canoe U10 video and just do some fishing. So,
Yeah.
Juan, how you been, man?
Not too bad, man. Just kind of navigating. That's about it.
Keeping not enough fishing. I'll tell you that, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been kind of like really horrible. It's not been, it's a funny time right now. We have a she's a 2.5 year old. So
Oh wow. Okay. We just
yeah,
haven't had any water
well,
here.
about to be 2. Actually, I lied. So she's just getting into being 2. So she's just
So
she got a lot
busy
going
season,
on.
bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Andy? You been fishing lately?
Man, my whole schedule's been turned upside down. We haven't really got a lot of water here this year. It's been a really dry year. A lot of the rivers and creeks have dried up. And then, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, we just had a colossal flood here. Um, I mean, some of the creeks went up about 15 foot. It was
Dang.
insane. We were taking some video of it and just looking in awe of it because we were walking. The creek was so dry that we were literally walking on the bed of the creek. There was no water, like zero. It was just dry. And then it went to people losing their home and some property over it. So
Wow.
it's definitely been one extreme to the other. God, I haven't fished in probably since August, maybe early September.
Yeah.
It's been a good minute.
Well,
Not
you've
because
had some
not
major
because I
life
didn't want
changes
to,
too,
but-
right?
Do what?
You've had some major life changes too with the career.
Yeah. Career change. I'm currently in a hotel here in Little Rock. Been here since October 1st. Now my days off, I'm still going back home, obviously. So it's not, I'm not camped out here permanently or anything. But it's been different. It's been a blessing, but it has definitely been a life change for sure.
Yeah, that's good, bro. I feel like I haven't been fishing much either. Like since I came back from down south in South Carolina and Alabama, I think I've went out one time, and that's to go hit some crappie with Jake, and I'll be dropping a video on that pretty soon because we had a good time. But that's it. I've been trying to get out, but just it's hard during the week. with the kids and everything. And then the weather right now, it's like if you do get a day free, it's either like this whole weekend we're gonna get like wind gusts up to 40 miles an hour. And it's been dry here too. Like it's just like that. Everyone's walking through the creeks. They're walking under these like places that were otherwise, covered in water. But we're talking about water levels down. Like in some places, it's receded 20, 30 feet. Boat ramps are just like up now in the distance. And if you want to launch, you got to get onto what was the riverbed or the creek bed or whatever. So we're supposed to get this weekend like a bunch of rain that turns into snow. But it's the first meaningful rainfall we've had probably since July.
Yeah, tonight we're supposed to get some. Can you hear me good now?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it sounds better.
I was fixing some stuff there, but yeah, it's been crazy. I've seen the bottoms of creeks and like people been taking pictures of like the like the bass beds and not the bass beds, the catfish boxes. You know what I mean? All the different structures. There's something like 200, like some 200-year-old bridge or something like that that's now exposed that we couldn't
for the
see
first
before.
time. I just saw that. Yeah, it's crazy. If you're in the Northeast, like it is so incredibly dry, especially here in Northeast Pennsylvania. It's wild.
It's like nothing, but yeah. So like tonight around 11, it's supposed to start raining. So I hope. I look
now's a good time
it,
to go
it's
looking
crazy.
for lures and things that people are losing, bro. Some chatterbaits.
I thought about, I lost the lure a while back, but I said to myself,
Now you're
I
gonna
didn't
go
realize.
for it.
Yeah, well, because I didn't realize how dried up it had been, and so I finally, got by some water to see. But yeah, it's horrible. It's sad.
No, for sure, man.
I'm making to get back out there though. That's for sure. I know I still do some stuff with OMTC that I used to work with, and they're expecting. Last I heard, they're expecting to get the Bonafide XTR in here middle of this month, which we're kind of past here. So I need to reach out to them next time I'm coming around that way, get my hands on that thing and, just obviously do some content, but I'm more curious than anything. I actually want to paddle it, which sounds insane, but just to see how it moves through the water. And then, then we'll do the stuff that every single content creator out there is going to be doing, is putting a motor on it, doing all that stuff. But, I remember getting out there with the Bonafide PWR and just really surprised at how well it moved through the water. And then that told me, okay, this thing is going to be a beast with a motor on it. It's you're not going to get all the resistance and the drag. And I was definitely right on that. But the XTR, I don't think they're really selling it as a speed demon necessarily. It's more of a take a buddy out with you. The setup is going to be a little nicer, I think, as far as wide open. To me, it kind of reminds me of probably a cross between what people like about, say, New Canoes Unlimited and the Bonafide PWR. You still got the swivel seat, you got the wide open deck, but a lot more accessibility and electronics. And that's where we're going. Love it or hate it.
I can't wait to see one in the wild, man. My buddy Jake, that was on my team for the Knucklehead, got one. He already got his XI3 mounted on it, his graphs. I mean, I think he picked it up and that night just rigged it out, got no sleep, and then took it out the next day, which I don't blame him.
That's the only way to do it.
Yeah. So I mean, it looks nuts. What was that?
Yeah. You said Jake got this?
Jake, Jake from he's out in Ohio. He was on my Knucklehead.
Okay.
Team.
Oh, I got you.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So it looks dope, man. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited for I think I've heard Old Town might be dropping some stuff this year.
They need to.
So, and I think that's where it comes from. Like most of the people I've been talking to, like they're saying like they have to, bro. Like they're so solid, and I love Old Town, bro, and I've been rocking with them for a long time. But they need to drop some new stuff because all their hulls are 2020. The Sportsman lineup is 2020.
And you can make the argument that's really smart. You can be over innovative, if that makes sense. if you're
Sure.
constantly trying to change things and constantly trying to do something new, that drives up cost. Those ovens, there's only so many boats you can put in the ovens. There's only so many molds that you can do.
Yeah.
And keeping it, I mean, they're popular. They haven't had to change because people are still searching for those old towns. People are still purchasing those.
Yeah.
So do they need to
they're
update?
solid.
Absolutely. But,
They are solid.
they've been able to kind of sit back a little bit. Hopefully they've been taking notes. Hopefully they've been getting those creative juices flowing, because in this business, if you're stagnant, you're moving backwards. So
Yeah. And I don't like the idea of rushing to drop something that's like not not warranted, not worth it. I've heard a little bit of feedback already on some of the wilderness systems, or the Tactical Pro 128 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like, I heard the same comments from my buddy Chris Blanco, who saw the prototype at ICAST. Now that the first run's already out, they're saying that it's not much change from the prototype. Like, the plastics looks flimsy, it looks cheap, and it's unfortunate because the platform looks good. Like, it looks like they did a good job.
And I kind of heard some of the same things. I had heard also that they really cut some corners with like the fuse block and the wiring, and it didn't surprise me. Wilderness is kind of notorious for that. They want to keep that price low. The thing that surprised me the most about that kayak, though, is the price point is still like what, $2,200, and the XTR is $2,800. To me, they're still too close together. You need to separate from that, because and I'm not saying everybody needs to go out and buy an XTR, but if you're close to that in price range, you've kind of bypassed that budget-friendly shopper and gone into premium range. And now, I mean, what about Motor Guide? That kayak was made for the Motor Guide setup. Now you can, I'm sure you can rig something up. Anytime somebody is online asking about the, Motor Guide, they say, "Oh, you can do this with this Minn Kota, or you can cut the shaft down." Well, some people just don't want to do that. There's just not a lot out there right now, and the stuff that I've seen, the price point is so high. You're almost better off waiting to see what Garmin comes out with, because they just eliminated the Motor Guide name. It's still the same company umbrella. They're just going to do it under the Garmin name moving forward, and you're probably going to get a really feature-rich motor. And I don't know that it's going to be that $1,500, $1,600, $1,700 price range that you're seeing on some of these other bow mount setups. So I'm curious. I'm curious to see if they stay with 12 volt or if they go to 24 or 36 volt. There's a lot of things that they can do there. And the only thing I don't like about it is the fact that they were saying Q2 of this year, which
that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, I'm also hearing ICAST. To me, that's the end of the season. If you're in July and you haven't put anything out, like, to me, July, you're toward the end of your tournament season, which is not everybody that has a motor is a tournament fisherman, but let's be honest, most of them are. And if you're waiting until July to get your setup done, you're missing the boat. So people, if they're going to go to a Newport or a Torpedo, they're not going to buy that. It just, there's a risk there. And you're still hoping that market is really hot with motors for that bow mount option in 26, because that's really what we're talking about here. To me, the stern, the transom mount motor has kind of, I'm not going to say taken over, but it's pretty close. That's where all the innovation's at. That's where your speed is. And, I always told people that if you want to get to your spot quickly, that's, that stern mounts for you. If you want to go up current, that's the, if you want GPS spot lock, get an anchor, get a anchor wizard on the front of it and drop it down. You're going to get the same, because most of my fishing's done at about 15, 20 foot of water or less. And that's kind of where I went with it, just my personal preference. I went with a Newport. I went, I can drop an anchor off the front or the side and still give me that same functionality. The only thing you don't get is the ability to slowly kind of troll around like you do with that bow mount motor, which is nice. Yeah. But you're always going to have some kind of give and take, obviously, in kayak industry.
I've used both. So with my autopilot, I have the Minn Kota that it comes with. And now with the Newport NK180 Pro, I got the stern mount. I like them both.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick one, I would go for a bow mounted with a spot lock, because that spot lock is game changing, man. And it opens up a little bit what more you can do. So one thing that's on my list to do is I want to go for lake trout in 190 feet of water. You're not anchoring in that. You know what I mean?
No,
so up here, that's just it's a specialty though. That's like that's like special, case or whatever. Not everyone's doing that. But I mean, you get spoiled in that thing because you're not moving. So, I would take the functionality of the spot lock versus the speed of the stern mounted, Newport, which I still love the Newport, and I'm going to be rocking with that probably for the majority of next year. But yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah. I think there's going to be some options coming out that is going to make a lot of people wish they would have waited. But I get it. If you've got the money and you want to get out there and do stuff, nobody wants to wait a year. Nobody wants to say, I'll just, you want to do that. If you've made up your mind to go motorized, you want to go ahead and do that. So, and that's what kind of sucks right now is there's some options. They may not be the best option, and it may kind of leave some bad taste in people's mouths when they see what may be coming. And I would be really surprised if they came all this time and they came out with a dud. They've been doing it long enough. It may be the difference, something small like between the NK180 and the NK180 Pro. It just may be a more efficient motor. It may be a quieter motor. The GPS functionality may be a lot better. There may be more ways to grow into it. Like you see with a lot of even the kayaks coming out now, they're kind of thinking about things like live scoping and motorization. Even the Hobie Pro Angler came out with, it's basically the same hull. You just got reinforced motor attachment areas on the front and the back.
I have opinions about that new Hobie.
I'm there with you. I think Hobie's done some things that is going to be hard for them to come back from, in my opinion. They're kind of gone big box store, which I never thought I was going to say that about Hobie of all people. But here we are. Next thing, I'm just waiting to see a Hobie Pro Angler in a Bass Pro Shop. That's I've already seen them in an Academy here. They had a Hobie Quest and some passports, and like the people in there had no idea what they were, or you know what I mean. Like the people that work there, they couldn't tell you anything about them. And like, man, like the first time you have a warranty issue. Because Bass Pro's already said, and Cabela's, they're not going to be a warranty or a service dealer. So that kind of creates some challenges. You get that club card at Bass Pro, and you're buying your Pro Angler with the points, and then you have those problems. Who do you go to? It's I just don't see it. I don't see it very good in the long run for them. Hope I'm wrong, because I think the industry needs Hobie. They really do, but things just aren't really looking good right there.
Yeah, sure. Yo, Juan, how you feel about the new Hobie? You a Hobie
guy? I feel like, I would personally, I appreciate everything they're doing now for the sake of, we have to, prior to these changes, to put anything on, we need a bow mount, we need a stern mount. We need to put all these, extra little things that they've pretty much added to kind of make that a little easier. Could they have done a little bit more? Would I like to see a little more? Yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen enough of it yet. I think the one part I do like is how they did add that battery area. Oh, look at that thing putting the thumbs up. The battery area, like behind
Yeah,
the
yeah.
seat, because that was like some wasted space. I think that they could. I don't know. I think for where they're at, they could kind of include some things.
Yeah.
Kind of include some lights, maybe.
And you can be a Hobie guy and not be pleased with where they're at right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're not like for me. I feel like they kind of when I got a Hobie, it was for the reputability, right at that
Yeah.
time, and
And to
so
be fair, at that time they were.
Yeah, that was
yeah.
the thing.
So going into things now, to be going into things this upcoming year and contemplating a new kayak in the next 2 years and thinking about what that may be, and thinking might not be a Hobie, and so that's it is what it is, because at first I was like a diehard, but
there's some
you grow and
crazy
adapt.
value out there right now, though.
Yeah, no, there is. And I wanted to get back to so some of the points you guys were making earlier. I think with that whole old time potential thing dropping that late in the season, I think it would be wise, like you guys were saying, to start sooner,
Yeah.
from a
I hope
financial
they drop
aspect
something
too.
in February, man. Like if they wait to
Yeah, just
ICAST, it's
because
too late.
think about how many guys are dads, right? And think about how income tax is going to play out, right? So it's just like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of potential for guys to purchase things around that time. And that's, right before the season starts. That's right
Yep.
before it kicks off. And what better time, right? So, you have that going on. And then I think that another innovation, which I think is really great, I think that they could probably play into. All right, so if I was these guys, if I was Autoboat, one thing I would be doing is I would be ensuring that I have a mount for all the kayaks.
Yeah. Auto boat, you said?
Because yes, I would ensure that I have a bow and stern mount for all kayaks, because right now what they do have is they have like this new head that you attach to any unit that you purchase. So you could purchase whether it's Motor Guide, Minn Kota, NK, whatever. Purchase the one of your choice. Their head integrates onto yours, so you have to do some work there, whatever, swap some wires or what have you. Put this head onto your unit. But now this unit, if they could come up with a way to adapt this, because there's plenty of bow mounts and stern mounts, but they're all for the, for the XI style, for the full out
Yeah,
style,
yeah.
not for the traditional, pick up and go style, right? So if they just came up with a way that you take this pick up and go style, and if guys just integrated that with the auto boat, I mean, the price point, I think you're right under $1,000, because the auto boat still comes under like 6 or 7. You could still get a 55 thrust for like 200, and then a battery for the low. I mean, you only need a 12 volt, and
Yeah. And for
and
those,
then with this, you know what I mean. And then also,
yeah.
lastly, with the auto boat, you could set up a whole, like, let's say you want to go along the coastline and just want to work that particular coastline with your phone and the auto boat. You could just set it up and it'll go along the coastline for you, and you don't have
Yeah.
to do any integration with the unit and the GPS like you would
And
have
what's
to
that run? It's
normally.
like $600, right?
I think it's like 600-700. Yeah, and their new version, like I said, has this head unit. It kind of, if you guys seen those new, the new Power Move or whatever
Yeah,
Power,
yeah.
those smaller head unit looking things. It's kind of like that, and that integrates onto any. Well, when you purchase
Yeah.
it, look at this.
And for people that
What
don't
it
know
tells
what
you.
the auto boat is, it basically allows you to take any $100 trolling motor and make it have GPS capabilities, so you can spot lock and move around with your phone.
Yeah, yeah. Like my buddy Izzy has one, and he has a Pelican Catch 110, right? So super entry level basic thing, and he has his on the back, with a mount that he got for it, and it works great. I mean, I've seen him out on the water with it. It comes with a remote too, so you don't always have to use your phone. And yeah, I've seen him use it, and with the spot lock, I was like, kind of at one time I was kind of hating a little bit, because I was like, man, that's kind of crazy, because here I am in this Hobie, You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of struggling with the wind a little bit, and having to sit down and pedal and whatnot. And here he is, the little pelican
Yeah.
catch.
That is kind of humbling, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. The innovation. So to your
Yeah.
point, you know, and what's going on, especially with these prices, and when you get to the value at that point, right? Because
Yeah.
that 139, that value that you get with all those options, right? Because
Yeah.
the value comes in the whole itself, but then also what you can do with it. And you can do a lot with
Yeah.
those. So
I would like to see more motor mounts integrated into the hull. And what I mean by that is, you know, obviously Torqeedo and Newport are so similar that it's almost criminal. But
yeah,
you've got, you know, you got your kayak, you got your motor. Well, then you got to buy the bracket to mount it. Then you got to quick release it if it's the bow mount. Then you got to buy the wiring kit and all that. You know, I would like to have, because that was kind of what we thought was going to be the Titan X from Native at ICAST, because Greg Blanchard was there and he just had a quick release puck mounted onto the hull where you can just take it on and off. And then Native came out later and said, no, you got to buy the plate because, you know, it won't handle that. I know obviously that's going to make a heavier kayak because you're putting more plastic in different parts, but you know, that was always kind of the heartbreaker when I would sell the motor guide setup was, okay, the motor guide for $1,350, that's just one part of it. You got to buy $100 plate. You got to buy an $80 quick release bracket. Spend another $100, $150 on the wiring kit, the plugs. You know, if you want to go those Marine Co. or Anderson plugs, I can up it up a little bit. And then it turned, you know, then you got to get your battery, which I did a video today on a cheap battery option. And you got your partnership with Lifetime there. I mean, the batteries are still going to be, you know, anywhere from $250 to $500, and then even more if you want to go like a Dakota or an Amped. But, you know, the motor becomes the small part of the equation there at that point. And then you're almost putting, because we all want to save money where we can. So, you know, you don't want to buy a $5,000 kayak to put $3,000 of motorized options on there, and then it just deletes some of the stuff that made your kayak worth the $5,000. Me, what I would like to see Hobie do, and some companies have already done this, but, you know, this is a copycat business. It's had to turn into that. You see it even with Native. I love Big Adventures, which is Native and Bonafide, but, you know, yeah, they've taken some features from New Canoe, and New Canoe's taken some features from others. And, you know, I would like to see Hobie do not go back to super budget, but give a cheaper platform that maybe it doesn't have a pedal drive to it. Maybe it's designed to be motorized. Maybe it's got a good frame seat, doesn't have to be great. Maybe it's got, you know, a decent weight capacity, you know, some stuff molded into it, but to get people into a name brand, because when people go ahead,
like a Tacoma, like I would feel like, you know, the pro angler is like a Tundra, right? And so, or like a Ford F-150, and we need a Ranger or a Tacoma of a pro angler, something that's a lighter. I hear that. Yeah, I agree. Something more economically friendly.
They're so top heavy. They're so focused on premium, and there's a market for that for sure. But you got to get people into the name brand, because if somebody goes to the big box store and buys a Pelican or buys Lifetime or, you know, any of these brands, and they outgrow these kayaks, which they're inevitably going to do. What do they, you know, someone who just doesn't know anything about kayaks, they don't research and they just bought a kayak, they have a good time, and now they want to kind of up the game a little bit. What are they going to look for? They're going to look for a Pelican, because that's what they bought before. Unless they had a terrible experience on it, they're going to say, okay, what does Pelican make that is going to do what I want to do now? And you get a little bit of brand loyalty no matter where you start, as long as your experience is good. Now, if you got the Pelican and wind blew you over and it filled up with water and sank to the bottom, you're probably not going to do it again. But it's the same thing with the Jackson. It's the same thing with Bonafide and Hobie and all these brands. Is, you know, they've moved up in their price range. You know, everyone wants that premium, that wow. You know, everyone's making the Tundra. not a lot of people are making those Tacomas or putting a lot of thought into them. And that's kind of where I'd like to see some of these companies kind of maybe take a step back, because it's going to get to a point where people are going to just start grabbing a paddle again. And I'm all for it. You know, I like my motors and all that, but there's something to be said with, okay, I just want something I can just throw in the back of my truck every now and then and just go fishing real quick. You know, I've got a setup where I go to the lake and I've got, you know, I'm plugging things in and I'm, you know, I got a throttle and all that, but you know, it's, I feel like some of these companies, and Jackson is probably the biggest one, is they've gotten away from what made them great. Because I'm a Jackson fan. It just doesn't sound like it with my last several videos, but Jackson has kind of gotten away from that. They've tried to chase the Hobies and the Old Towns and the natives and the bona fides, and Jackson was kind of like Crescent, in my opinion. They made really good paddling kayaks. Everyone had like an old Coosa or a Cuda or a Kraken, or, you know, any of those older kayaks they used to make. And now they're just, you know, they come out with the NAR and it looked just like a Pro Angler with a Jackson sticker on it. And then it was a big miss. And then they put all that money and all that resource into creating that kayak. And now when you look at their lineup, they have a NAR, which is a big open water $4,000 kayak. They have the big rig. They brought it back, but now that's a big open water $4,000 kayak. You can kind of see what they're doing. They're moving away. And when you look at their lineup, there's not really, I mean, the Coosa X is kind of a river fisher, but it's 100 pounds. To me, it's still a big water kayak that just paddles kind of well. I just, some of these, they're getting their eye off the ball, so to speak. And that's, they're going to, some of them are going to have to go back. I mean, it's, you know,
Hobie needs a Stanley Cup. That's what they need. They need a Stanley Cup kind of comeback. You know, the way the Stanley Cup just kind of made their, you know, that's what they need for the Hobie. Something that is good, that everybody can afford, and something that, you know, brings value back to their brand.
And it's odd to say this. I think Hobie, public perception has been their biggest enemy here the last couple of years. True or not.
Well, they're not doing much to turn it around.
Exactly.
From the PR side.
Yeah. And parts availability is becoming an issue with them again. My last thing I did at the store was replacing a steering belt on a Hobie 360 drive. I was there till 9 p.m. doing that. And, you know, there's a couple of content creators out there. I'm not going to name names or anything, but, you know, when they came out and did the videos on the new XR 360 drive, it's like, oh, they corrected all these problems. And I said in one of my videos is I was like, I thought that was really irresponsible, because you can't say on day number 2 that everything's been corrected. You're not going to know until a year or two. And sure enough, it helped. It made it to where you don't have, like, you know, if you know the guys from Aggressively Average Anglers, you know, those guys all had, you know, they both had 360s and they both loved them. And then, you know, Jeff got stranded like 3 or 4 times in his, and where he just spinning around. And, you know, they made it to where you can still control it if the belt goes out, because the belt is not an expensive part. It's kind of a pain to replace, but like, people being without their $5,000 kayak for like 4 or 5 months is what made some really loud critics, and rightfully so. I'd probably have a pretty bad taste in my mouth from that too.
Yeah, I mean, I was one for sure. I know I didn't help. Me and Jay probably didn't help with our little content coming back from a trip we made at Beltsville, when I probably offloaded about 75 pounds of water that leaked into my hull. I couldn't find the hull leak underneath or anywhere like that. And that wasn't even, you know, I had some surface cracks on my deck of my hull where I shouldn't even had cracks at. So it was just, I don't know, it was just weird. Weird kind of stuff. And then it got replaced, and then kind of got jacked up. Literally my first trip out on my brand new Hobie. Something happened there with the drive, like how you said with your belt or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I had to take it back, and for like 3 or 4 months, for me it was that long because the where I got it from was about 3.5 hours away. So it's a 7-hour day for me, just to get there and back, not including the time it takes to wait for it to get fixed. So
yeah, and the biggest problem with Hobie and the parts was, and it was out of their control, unfortunately, but and they all the companies do that to an extent. The hulls, which again Hobie moved to Mexico, but still, like, the hulls are manufactured, they're made, and they're put together in the U.S. The parts, specifically with Hobie outsources a lot of parts from overseas, and in the case of the Lynx, which my wife owns a Lynx and she loves it, but those are actually assembled in China, and the parts to some of the drives are from China. When they had that supply ship fiasco, we had parts ourselves on that ship for months and months and months. And I always felt bad for the retail shops, because that is no fault of their own. They're just going on what Hobie's telling them.
But ultimately,
it's
these retail, they're gonna drop Hobie because Hobie's making them look bad.
Yeah.
These retail shops, they're not gonna push a product that they can't stand behind.
We did,
and service they can't stand behind. So let's go. We're gonna talk about some of these items for the holiday shopping, but first we got Christina.
Hey.
Yo.
So if y'all don't
sorry
know,
I'm late.
You're good. So Christina is Andy's wife. So they are the bearded paddler together. So welcome to the show. I'm glad you can make it. I know it's late.
What's up, Christina?
Yeah.
Andy trying to touch you.
Yeah. He's kind of like 3 hours away right now.
Oh.
Yeah. He's a traveling man now.
Mm-hmm.
And not like the fun travel like fishing.
No.
No.
It's the work and then the hotel. Work and hotel. That's pretty much.
Yeah.
Gotta get you some pond and lake logistics, get you close to some of those.
Yes.
So Andy had sent me a list of some of his highly suggested holiday finds, right? For the holiday gift guide. So I'm gonna bring them up here on a separate screen, just on Amazon, so we can start talking a little bit about them. This one, obviously, being the Yak Attack Black Pack Pro. All right, so if you don't have one,
believe it or not,
why should we?
I was gonna say, I don't have one yet.
Okay,
and I would.
That's okay.
I want no, because you don't need one. I just want to say,
no, you don't. This is not a necessity, but when you get one, it's the thing you didn't know you needed until you got it. Like it's.
I didn't realize I needed one until I saw Jay's, and then I saw all the teammates and all the people who had them down south, and I was like, all right. Because I like, the innovation with my little crate, and I like the capacity I have with my crate. But I mean, Jay will tell you, I have more lures than what the heck on my thing, and I don't need to do that. So
they're not cheap. So I'll say that, and I understand that to anybody looking at this
either.
But man, so I remember what the black packs looked like before this, and those that have been in this for a while, they remember. They're just smooth plastic plates. It took a degree to assemble it, and it was okay at best. This thing, in my opinion, this is the most improved, the biggest improvement in a product that I've ever seen. Is the price is almost identical to what the previous version was, but there's so much more going on, and you have 3 different sizes. So the original one, I want to say, was very similar to the 13 by 13. It was just a little box. You screwed the tubes on the side, but this one here, you got those little hooks on top that's got a bungee cord that are made for it. They're your rod tethers. You can arrange them in different configurations. You can put as many or as little as you want on there. And right there, the storage, the 16 by 16 is what I use. Do I need all of it? No. The 16 by 16 is great if you carry more than just tackle boxes. Christina uses the 13 by 16. She loves it. The 13 by 16 is probably the best value in my opinion, as far as just tackle, but some people like to turn them into battery boxes. Some people like to, do all kinds of stuff. And now they're even making products for it, like the short stack, which is basically a lid replacement, and it gives you a smaller Blackpack Pro on top of your Blackpack Pro. So they continually just evolve that product.
Yeah. And I can attest for it being one of those things that you didn't know you needed till you had it. Because I was rocking with my DIY milk crate for 3 years. Yeah. And I put it through some stuff and it's broken, chipped, but it held up. And it cost me what, $20-$30 maybe. The crates were just lying around somewhere in my shed. But even then, like after buying this was on my list for a while, I was happy with it. And I thought it is really like just intuitive. I think Yak Attack, they can take the most basic thing and then from somebody else and then come out with different innovations that no one thought of. Like when they came out with, and we'll talk about it, the leaderboard. First thing I thought was like, why are you gonna like release another ruler? But they came up and they actually came up with some really cool things.
I'm so mad because I have a big red 32-inch $80 catch board with the engraving in it for what? For Yak?
No, and I love catch
with this official with the little I love the look. My favorite part is the little markers on it that are like reminders of the last
culling tabs.
Culling tabs. Oh man.
Yeah, they came out with some really cool stuff on there. Like and then
the ID holder. ID holder?
Yeah.
Come on,
so
bro. Come on.
That was a huge value. That to me, that's the biggest value of the leaderboard is the fact that you have the 2 ID holders. So with the catch board, and again, me and Christina both rock catch boards personally. So I had no problems with them whatsoever. But we got the $30 catch board, and then we got the $30 catch ID holder. And by the time you do that, you've essentially got a leaderboard as far as price goes, but the leaderboard's got the ID holders built into it. You can add more to it, obviously, but 2, I feel like is going to be adequate for anybody. I love the way the kind of the trough on it. It seems to hold the fish a little bit better that way. It's also a lot wider, which kind of creates a little bit of an issue as far as storage goes. And it floats on, the floating thing is, a lot of people put attention to that. I tether mine to the kayak anyway. So
no, you don't.
Well, I do now. I didn't always.
Yeah. It is if you've never seen one, and until I saw it, like it is significantly larger.
Yeah.
Like you can't tell from the photo, but it is, it's probably like an extra inch like wider than the catch boards. But yeah, it does sit the fish a little bit more securely. And I mean, it has another thing I like on it is this little, you'll see in the top corner here, it has this little like reflective area. So that way, on catch boards, everyone always puts that sticker on the bump board there. And that's so that you can make sure the fish is touching it. Well, now it has this little mirror that you can see instantly if the fish is touching there or not. So they won't deduct points unless, it's not touching.
And they make a holster that goes on your Blackpack Pro that you can just slide it into there. That's another thing. Again,
really?
It's because they make
because I do mine vertically right now. I kind of put mine vertically in my back, whatever. It's not a yak back, but it's a lawn.
Yeah.
These are the little culling tabs right here.
Yeah, I like that. That was my favorite.
It's just a great product. Now they're doing them in different colors too, I think.
They have like a sand and a gray, I want to say.
Yeah.
I like Yak Attack just makes cool stuff, man. I like them. And I like that they don't just take the lazy way out to copy a product. They'll come and make it better.
Yeah.
No, and you know what? I will say I only have one complaint. Well, first things first, Yak Attack, if anything, just send me and Jay to hear one of those.
I got one. I
But
got one. I
no,
didn't use it yet.
yeah, oh, okay. Well, the only complaint I have is I had the panfish mount, and the panfish mount separated on me while I was loading up my kayak one night.
Oh, you told me that you dropped the GoPro in the water.
Not on
From
my
the-
own because the mount broke
Yeah.
on me. The
Yeah,
mount
yeah.
separated at the midpoint. So I don't know. Whatever.
Faulty.
And I hear that's
maybe.
like yeah. I don't know why all the defects happen to me or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so these are two really good suggestions. What's the other one? So kind of going on with the Yak Attack theme
They make,
here, the
I think, the
short
best
stack.
products.
They do,
Oh,
man. This whole
overall.
list is
No,
gonna
they
be
do. Probably Yak Attack, and I wouldn't be
Yeah, there you
surprised
go.
because they make the best overall, and they make very thick, reliable gear. To the point that I just complained about one product, it still is a very sturdy product. So I was like, that's why I was a little shocked by it, acting like that. But that is that dope short stack. And
yeah.
hey, the new batteries for the Newport. What are those new batteries
The Low
called?
Pros, the Newport Low Pro.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
It's supposed to be able to
apparently
fit in a short stack.
just like that, like perfect.
that
So
would
Yeah,
be good.
which
That's nice because they've got those little through hole.
yep.
Because you've got those little holes all over the black pack and the short stack. They have those little through hole wiring kits that go
Mhm.
directly onto that, and the little rubber grommets, and
Yep.
they got everything. You can
Can you stack
essentially
two
do
on
an
top?
entire build with Yak Attack.
Can you stack two of those on top, or is that much?
one and
How thick is
another.
that?
I mean, I've
How
seen.
thick is
I
that?
think I saw someone do
I
that.
think you could because
Is that
the
what, like
lid.
6
All
inches?
you're doing is you're replacing the lid with that. So you can essentially replace the lid on the short stack with another short stack. I think it'd be a bit much, but that I thought just seeing pictures of it before I saw it in person, I thought it looked kind of ridiculous. Seeing it in person, it doesn't go up as high, it's not too high or too much. It actually looks really nice. You still have that clean kind of
You
custom
know
look
what?
that you would expect with it.
They might be able to get away with a mid stack.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say a mid stack is because a mid stack would allow you to potentially put your stack either on top of that. What I'm thinking of is how could you get two of those Newport batteries in there and some tackle?
Why would you need two of them?
Those new how
They're
many
100. I
volts are
mean, I
those?
think there's 100 amp hour batteries. You're probably not gonna need two of them.
Are they 12 volt only though?
Yeah. For now,
That's what I'm thinking. If you need
Christina, do
any
you
more
have one of
power.
these on your black pack?
I don't. I actually have the track pack because I've
Oh,
really that thing when we are on rivers, just because I don't use my black pack as often on my RVR, the track pack is there 24/7. Like it never leaves my RVR because that is my preferred method on rivers.
What do you
okay.
put in it?
Everything.
Well,
I've got two of them on there, and I
What does that
use
look
one
like?
of them for my terminal tackle, and I use the other one for the baits that I want to use.
Yeah, that's a good call. And I just got 2 sets of track packs, which I haven't gotten on yet. I'm really excited to use them.
They are that was a game changer for me because I started realizing I was not taking as much stuff on rivers. And because of that, where the RVR sits, I actually have a spot for it on the track in between my feet. So I can put it on the side,
nice.
but I can also put it in between my feet. And I kind of go back and forth between that. But if you have a couple of those, they tie down and it's not something that I worry about with my black pack. I'm like, that's not something I want to lose. And I don't use the rod holders on it when I'm on the
Are they
river.
waterproof?
they're not waterproof.
No.
But they also sell little trays you can put inside,
Yep.
like little 4x2s or 5x1s.
Yeah.
So they are really versatile. Some guys use them for their soft plastics. They'll use them for the terminal tackle I've seen. So I'm excited to figure out kind of how I want it. So because I have the 16x16 Black Pack Pro with the short stack, and I was of the mindset of I don't need the short stack. The 16x16 already was too big because I bought it with the tackle mentality. Like I'm gonna put just my tackle in here. But what I ended up doing, because it is a really big box, is now I use half of it for my Newport or for my to power up my Newport. So half of it's for tackle, the other half is for that. But when I did that, I lost a little bit more space than I wanted to. So then I got the short stack, and it's like perfect that way. But these are really cool too.
Top Shelf Fishing said snacks. It's for snacks.
I'm not gonna lie, I've done that too, because if I'm having a bad day, Andy already knows, just give her some snacks and she'll be fine.
Just give her some snacks. No peanut
my
butter.
wife thinks tackle boxes, like the tackle boxes that open up and they fold out and they have all the compartments. She thinks those are charcuterie stations.
Snackle boxes.
They can be.
Yeah, snackle boxes. Yep. So
That's
I ask
awesome.
her every time. Yep, everything to her is for snacks. So
Yep.
Yeah.
So at the risk of, I think we got one more Yak Attack thing that we wanted to, the Omega rod holder.
All reliable.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably that, and the Roto Grip paddle holder is probably the two biggest selling things Yak Attack makes.
Mm-hmm.
But the Omega, and they make some variations. They got the Omega Pro.
I need the phone holder too.
Yeah, that phone holder I think is that's going to be a big seller for them.
What you really need on that is you need the double header with the Omega rod holder.
Yeah. Yeah, that double
is
header.
that where you could put like two of them on the double header?
Mm-hmm.
That's sick. Yeah, so this is the one without the articulating arm, but they have one that also has the articulating arm. So there's
that's the Pro. It's just that extra elbow in it.
Gotcha.
I tell you,
I saw
one thing that I didn't send you on a list and one thing I absolutely love is those Guardian Angel kayak lights.
Okay.
For those of you that like to
Mm-hmm.
I love that thing.
Well, you know what? They just came out with. They were working on a new version for. Look for the kayak light kit right there.
I think
they were working on. Last time I checked, you couldn't purchase it because they were working on a better version to give us. I think because they have a stick mount that you could put right, Andy, for the back for like a 360 light. I think they were working on a better mount for that. Last I checked, anyway.
And their magnet system is really, really nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought the kayak light kit, just like you see there with the little remote. The remote's got a little floaty thing on there, so if you drop it, it floats.
This is all rechargeable, right?
Yeah. It uses a USB-C, which is most of our phone chargers now. Those lights put out a tremendous amount of light. I love the fact that you can adjust the dimness of it. So if you're going to be out there for a long period of time, because if you got it on the brightest, the highest setting, it's going to run that battery down a little bit quicker. But there's 4 different levels of brightness. I think I'm right on that. But even at the lowest setting, that still far exceeds what the minimum legal limit is on there. And man, just having that remote control is nice. They sell that, so they come with the micro lights. Now they have another light called the Elite, and I've had an Elite light for a long time, but the Elite lights are bigger, they last longer, they're a lot brighter. They do have red and green, but they don't function with the controller. I think that's something that they'll hopefully do. I haven't heard anything on that, but man, that kit, I bought one because I sent them an email saying, hey, I'd like to try this out and do some content. And I just got tired of waiting. So I just bought one, and then they sent me one. And then that's what Christina runs on hers. And dude, the white light in the back, the red and the green on the front, the different ways you can mount it. It comes with the tether.
And you don't have to drill no holes, right?
No holes, no wiring, no nothing. When you're done, you just take it off, you put it on the charger, and you just forget about it.
And it's a
Yeah,
very
that's sick,
reputable
man.
company. It's not only just used there. I mean, all the firefighters, emergency personnel, police
That's what those are.
officers. It's
Yep.
it's what they
there you go.
use. So
Yep. That's the one. I don't even remember
very
how we
reliable,
got
very
this one,
reputable.
but it's not. This is actually the one that they use for. I think it's construction because it's actually got yellow lights on it.
Wow.
But it's a little bit bigger. But that was
Yeah.
actually what got us into the kayak lights, and we both run them. And I mean, him and I have been across the lake, and I can tell where he is with that kayak light.
That's awesome. Does it have a clip where you could put it on a PFD?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does
They have
actually.
that. That's actually why, like a lot of the officers that utilize it, they'll utilize it on their left shoulder as they're approaching a vehicle to act as a beacon, safety beacon.
Gotcha.
So
And
yeah, it's very reliable.
if you go back to that, actually on the kayak lights, there's a clip as well, so you can actually
Okay.
clip it in, and then you can tie it. You can tether that too.
Nice.
Yeah,
they're official.
How long have we run those for? It's close to a year now.
Yeah.
Not quite, but it's I've been I did a video on that where I was in the store and I turned all the lights off and it lit the store up, and it's just those little bitty micro lights playing with the remote. It's got the SOS signal on there, just everything you can want or need on that. So and they've been, like I said, those things are bulletproof too. I mean, it's not a cheap looking light. It looks like you could drive over it. Not that I would want to do that, but
And like I said, the last time I checked, they had an accessory available so that you can utilize, Yak Attack. They have
you
the
just like
flag.
it's like a magnet clip right on a light.
Yeah.
On a pole, right?
Yeah, they were working on a better something. Now, this was a while ago, probably like 6-7 months ago. I was looking, so I'm not sure if they're still working on that or not. But I would just check the site. I wish we got it.
Yeah. Ruben wants
Jay
to give
gotta
away
send that
Guardian
email.
Light.
So I've got something going with them right now that I'm looking to do a giveaway on. I'm hoping to get some of the elite lights for somebody, but stay tuned for that for sure.
Nice. Cool. So let's jump on to the next one here.
Yep.
So this one, you'll actually see that I bought it because it says it on Amazon. The Rogue Protector tether for the phone. So this, I probably had this in like 5 different videos because this is one of my favorite accessories, and it's always on my PFD. If I'm wearing my lighter PFD, I just I attach it to the bottom and put it in my hoodie pocket. But this is basically ensures that your phone doesn't take a dip in the bath. So it's just a silicone case, fits over any phone cover, and you just strap it down. And really like it. It's super like the little tether part, the little coil part is like high quality. It's not like a cheapy, stretchy one. So this is a good one as well. Do you guys both run these Rogue tethers?
I've heard a lot about them. I have never had my hands on one. I've heard. Go ahead.
I was just thinking. I was like, Christmas stocking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely something I would invest in.
Oh, for sure. I would have dropped my phone in the water like 10 different times if it wasn't for mine.
Yeah, I keep mine in my front pocket. I've got a big front pocket that I put it in, but yeah, just having that like having that tethered to me and being able to access it a little quicker instead of having to zip it up and secure it inside my PFD.
That's what I do.
That'd be really nice.
I secured in the PFD part right there in my zips because I can flip it upside down. I could be on the phone, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, and Rogue just released a new one, so we did a giveaway for it last week on the Kayak Fishing Dads group. But it's called the Shield Tab. Where's my camera? Right there. So it's just a little tab that goes behind yourself, like between your cell phone case and your phone, and then it has a little dangly part that just clips on right to the carabiner.
Nice.
And so they're nice. They're only $20, and they're on Amazon. So everything that we're talking about too, we're gonna have links in the show notes for all these items, so you guys can check them out and buy them too. But keeps your expensive phones from taking a dive.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The amount of iPhones that is found in the local rivers here is just insane.
Dude, and now with the water going back, you probably found a bunch.
Yeah, there were when the water went down. There was so many people out there looking for jewelry because there's always people posting on Facebook about, yeah, and why people do this, I have no idea. Like they're wearing expensive jewelry or like family heirlooms or like an expensive engagement ring. You know, when we're out now, I've got mine on all the time. Mine's not coming off, but like hers, she's usually got one of those silicone bands, and you know, like that way you lose it. Hey, just put another one on.
That's what I got too. I
want to get one.
Breaks, no biggie.
Yeah,
mine's titanium, and has no give on it. So it's like sometimes depending on, you know, if I'm being real manly and I'm grabbing all the groceries in, and my fist is going,
caught.
you know. Well, no, it's just like so because you know, silver or gold, it gets soft over time, especially as your hands heat up, and when you take the ring off, it'll kind of mold to your finger a little bit. Being that this is titanium, it has no give whatsoever. So whenever I get pressure, you know, from being like sometimes I'll take the dogs out, and you know, I'm holding on to the leash, and they'll put that bend around my knuckles, and sometimes I have to hold it without my pinky because I can't withstand that. You know what I mean? It's like somebody.
Yeah.
It's just
mine's
it's so tough.
Mine's tungsten. And same thing. Like when my hands get squeezed together, there's no. That's
it's no give. It kind of hurts.
Like,
So I want a rubber
ask
one.
the dogs about how much give that ring has.
Oh yeah, when I pet, I'll be petting one of our dogs, and she's got like this little ridge up on top of her head. Every time I'll pet her, it's like I feel like I'm back in the day when kids in school would take their class rings and turn them upside down and thump them in the head. Yep. That's what I feel like I'm doing to my dog every time I pet her, and I don't realize I'm doing it. So I always have to be careful doing that because like I'll hear this knock when I go to pet her. And
it's ironic because if you go back to the beginning of the show, I wasn't wearing my ring, and my wife actually texted me. She was like, "Fool, where's your?"
That's a good wife.
So off camera, out one of the times.
See, I'm actually the one that's more guilty of that than he is.
Oh, I leave it around all the time. She's always telling me about myself.
I'm guilty of it because I'm afraid of getting it screwed up. Especially like today, I'm sitting there dissecting stuff, and I'm like, that's disgusting. So I tend to take my rings off and wash them, and then not sleep with them. So I forget to put them back on.
We broke. Well, I don't know. She. I don't know how, but hers is currently broken. We were like going through like a clean fest one day, and she's cleaning something, and I'm right behind her because she's doing such a good job. I can't tell you why I was behind her watching her, and we were both like trying to get something. And we most looked at her hand at the same time and noticed that her diamond was gone.
Ooh.
And it's a teardrop diamond, and the size doesn't matter, but it was enough for us to worry about. We're like, what the heck? And so at this point in time, we have been cleaning for like 6 hours. So like, where do you think it was? She's like, I don't know. And she was like on a vacuum fest. She had vacuumed the whole house like 6 times over. It was nuts. So we were convinced at this point that it was either sucked up in the vacuum, that it was in the garbage or whatever. So we're looking around for it, don't find it. We're finally coming to terms with the fact that we probably lost this diamond. How do you not? We're getting ready to put my dogs away. And I'm glancing down at the floor. And I see something that doesn't even look like a diamond. Honest to God, it didn't look like a diamond. And I don't know what possessed me to go down and bend down and touch it, but I touched it. Turns out it happened to be it. We found it. It's still sitting there. I got to get it fixed for her. But for now, she rocks a little band. But man, let me tell you.
Sounds stressful.
So
yeah.
So from now on,
cubic zirconia from now on, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Next thing real quick is because we're running out of time because we are. It goes fast, man. Before you know it, we've already been here for more than an hour. Let's
run through those.
Yeah. So next one up is the Yak Power plug and play kit. So talk about that a little bit, Andy.
I've never owned one. I've installed these a few times, and I've been really, really impressed with the simplicity of it. And it's basically like having a junction box in your kayak, and like you see there, you got the power, that goes to your battery. You got the part there where you can, plug in a phone, and like they've got so many things, and you buy these little pigtails that just it's just plug and play. Once you get the battery hooked up to it, and you buy the different, they call them the pigtails that they just plug into the sides of them, and you got the little control module. Number 1 is your fish finder, 2 is your lighting, or whatever you're wanting to do with it. I did one on a Titan X for a guy that came up from Louisiana, and I'm looking at this thing. I was like, I can see me doing something like that. And then I kind of went backwards and went more simplicity on my kayak. But, it's the coolest thing because it's still low profile. Everything can be hidden, and you don't have to be an engineer or anything to make that look professional.
Can you charge?
That's a really, really nice setup.
Yeah.
Can you charge from that unit?
What do you mean? Like charge a phone?
Like, no. Like, I've always wondered, with the bass boats, those guys just run a cable, they plug in the extension cord, and they're charging everything up. There's no looking back, right? I was wondering if we have an option for something like that as a kayak guys, or are we just kind of at that place where we got to keep bringing our
I see what
batteries
you're
in and
saying.
out?
Yeah,
I don't know, like onboard charging.
Yeah, like a onboard charger for some of some sort. I think that we could use that, something to keep it. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Like a trickle charger. I mean,
Something.
talking about like doing
Something,
something without having to take all your batteries and your electronics out.
Yeah, without having to unplug everything. You know what I mean? Keeping
you
everything
do
in
that.
nice.
I mean, yeah, that's
You could add a trickle yourself.
yeah.
But but I was just wondering. I was like, does that do that? Is that compatible?
Yeah.
with that?
So I've installed a couple of these on my own kayaks, and I've had Yak Power, I think, for going on 3 years now, and I love their system. I had this one that I had up on screen, but I had the one that had the Bluetooth control, and even with the Bluetooth, it's super responsive. My mistake that I made was I caught a big fish down in Alabama, and I ended up like knocking the controller into the water with my catch board, the metal catch board, like it just ripped it right off the track. So I lost that, but now I have the 8-gang switch, and that controller actually just screws right into your kayak wherever you want to put it, but it has 8 switches, so you can, I only have 5 or 6 of them filled up, but plenty of room for accessories if you're a guy that has, a power pole and a fish finder, and you have your live scope, you have your bow lights, your mid lights, whatever it is. Like, they have plenty of options on there. But the simplicity is nice.
Yeah, never underestimate how far your want and need to go bigger and better on kayaking is going to go. So things like that are definitely something that you can grow into. You can keep it, 2 or 3 items, obviously, but then you're always going to add something. This year you may be great, but next year, it's like, hey, I'd like to try this, or what,
Yeah.
Especially when you're not in the kayak and in, fishing, depending on if someone's where the winters are really bad and you're not fishing on a kayak. Yeah, it's sitting in the garage. You're just looking at it, and some people just like to tinker. So that's where a setup like that really comes into play there, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And they have a lot, like Yak Power themselves make a lot of accessories, because they make a 360 light that you can plug in if you want. They also have a wireless phone charger now that I just installed recently, and I used it, and that thing is the bee's knees. It's really cool to be able to just put your phone in there and then charge it, and you can stream, you can do whatever you have to do.
Yeah.
So I probably have like 6 of the 8 taken up with some extra. And then the owner Lewis asked if it hooks up to the battery. Yeah, so it hooks up to the battery, and you can put whatever size battery you want on there. So I run mine with a 50 amp hour, 12 volts, and that gave me running all my lights, my live scope, my Garmin, about 2.5 days before I totally suck the power dry off of that thing.
How you
but
liking
it
live
is
scope?
really, it's not, you don't have to be an electrician to figure it out. That's the nice thing. It is really like plug and play.
How you liking live scope?
I like it, man. So this season, at first, I was a little bit, I won't say like overwhelmed by it, but I just didn't have time to go out there and like practice it. So early this year. But the thing is, out here in my immediate area, there's not a lot of Great Lakes for live scoping, because you don't live scope in shallow water for the most part, right?
Yeah.
But I actually, when I took it down to South Carolina, I used it on Lake Murray, and I ended up doing really good. I was able to find the striper. I was able to really like sit in and start identifying fish with it. Probably not the best time to learn it when you're doing a tournament, but it worked out for me. You know, but that was up until that point, I was thinking maybe I was going to not have it next year, but I was able
he
just
offered to
able
sell
to
it
see
to
the
me.
striper attack the bait fish was wild. And then I was able, the only reason I got him in the boat was because of that.
Nice.
It was crazy. He was like contemplating. He was like, dude, yeah, if anything, I'll probably just sell it to you. And I was like, yeah, dude, whatever, just let me know. And then he goes out with our buddy Jake, and he catches a good amount of crappie, and he's like, dude, this thing is so dope.
It is
And
next.
I
It
was
is
like,
next
I
level.
knew you'd like it.
Yeah. So it is cool. I mean, it's just a little bit of a learning curve. But once I'm
I've
still
heard
figuring
that.
it out. I'm not going to say by any means I'm super experienced. I'm still learning it. But it's fun for sure.
Yeah, I've gotten away from even using fish finders in general. But you know, I'm not a heavy tournament fisherman either. So, but yeah, because I had when I had my pro angler, I had it was the Lowrance Hook 7 with the triple shot. So it had the side scan, the down scan, and all that. And I got to where I was fishing, but I'm looking at that thing more than I'm actually fishing. And I'm still looking for the same things I'm looking for had I not had that. You know, the signs of life, you know, bait fish popping or birds, you know, you see the action around you. But, you know, as far as most of the fishing we do is in spots that we know where everything's at. You know, I know where there's structure. I know where there's, but if I'm doing a lot of traveling, absolutely. I definitely see the value in that, because you're in a strange body of water. You want to see that structure. You want to see that brush pile, and live scope definitely takes that to the next level. But I always tell people is like, it's not going to make a novice fisherman into a great one. You know, you still got to have some instinct, and it kind of, it spices it up a little bit, you know, what ability or instincts you get, not just comes from experience.
It works. It goes in combination, because I'm by no means considered like I don't consider myself some expert fisherman, because I'm still super early in my journey. But when I was able to find the striper with it, it's because I already identified a spot that it was most likely going to happen at, because it was a choke point right there. So that's where I ended up. And then because I was in the right spot, then I was able to like see where the stripers were under, because the bait fish was not busting in the water. They were about a foot down, and that's where they were going nuts. They didn't break the water barely at all. So that's where it helped me see, hey, this is where the fish is at. And then I wasn't staring at the screen seeing if they bite my lure. I was just casting in the direction of where I knew they were at.
That's pretty cool though, seeing the videos of like the lure go and then seeing it like that's
my favorite videos.
That's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. It's something else, man. I mean, if you guys want to add it to your Christmas list, it's $1,600. So if you get the LV, the 34 transducer,
gotta talk to her there.
Talk to the boss. What does the boss say, Christina?
$1,600. That's a small price for love.
Yeah, you know what? I can't say anything. This man just got me a new vehicle.
Well,
I can't say anything.
You had to get a new vehicle. It wasn't like I just showed up with a bow on it. It's like, hey, here's your new rig.
It sounds like she's giving you the go ahead. So.
He usually doesn't get a whole lot of pushback from me. He really doesn't.
That's awesome. So if someone wanted to go for something a little bit like electronics, like a fish finder that's more beginner friendly, lower on the price spectrum, where would you point them to?
Oh man, without a doubt, no hesitation, the Garmin Striker. To me, it's almost the gold standard for kayaks.
Yeah, this one right here, the 4.
Yeah.
4CV.
Oh, the bundle. Man, that's gotten pricier.
So they have the Garmin Striker 4 CV is like it's like entry level where it's not going to hurt the bank. Like it's $180, and people use it for ice fishing all the time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I got my just standard Garmin Striker 4. I want to say I got it at Walmart on Black Friday. It was $99.
Ooh, wow.
And yeah, and that's pair it with if you pair that setup with the Yak Attack or the Naqua, was it a 10 amp hour battery?
You're good to
and
go.
that thing will last you for 3 or 4 days because it gives you everything you need. It gives you the water temp, it gives you the depth, it gives you
the clear view.
You can see the contour within reason. I think that graphic there is probably a little fancier than you're going to get with it, but you still get the idea of if there's a shelf, if there's a trough, you can see some creek bed in there.
See some grass.
To me, you can see balls of bait fish. You can see, I've seen crappie kind of stack up, on a fish finder. They'll just kind of be, you have the little hooks, but you'll have like 3 or 4 of them right on top of each other. That'll usually not all the time, will be, be crappie. And that's always what I suggest to people if they're looking to get into that and looking to kind of dabble in it a little bit, because you can sell it really quick if you decide you like it. If you don't like it, if you don't like it, you can sell it. If you do like it, you can keep it. Or you can, upgrade if you wanted to do something bigger and better. But I always feel like people, when they upgrade it, they're doing that keeping up with the Joneses, and a lot of times people pay for stuff they don't use. I'm one of those too, because you get all the stuff that I used or I had on my last fish finder. I used the same things. I'm looking at terrain, water temp, depth, all of that. So
yeah. So that's at a great price. I mean, like you said, it gives you all the critical things you need in a fish finder without all the fluff.
Oh yeah.
And I think I would say, like you said, like something like this, if you don't like it, you can get rid of it. You could sell it without, even if you take a 50% hit on it, you're losing what, $80, $90?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you can learn the basics of learning a fish finder, identifying structure. Yes. I use the word fish finder, but we don't use it. Generally, you're not using it to find fish. You're using it to identify structure and to identify what's in the water around you, water temperature, all that stuff. But
yeah. Absolutely.
You can play your conditions.
Yeah, for sure, man. And that one, that's a super popular one. So that's going to be on the list. That was my first one. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, man. And I think we got a couple other things on the list, but I think that covers the majority of it.
It's a good list
for battery for sure. We worked with lead time a lot, but I've had lead time for the better part of this year and then last year for my autopilot, and I've loved their batteries. They have a 12 amp 12 volt battery for like $60, which is perfect to power something like this or power your lights, or even if you have a little bit of a bigger setup.
They're good company. I've installed some of their stuff. I've done a lot of Newports, and that's usually what I would steer them toward, because you and me have kind of gotten in the same pool where we'll get emails weekly. Hey, I'm with so-and-so company. We want to send you a battery to review. And with lead time, they were one of the first ones. It's lead time.
I say lead time.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Tomato.
Well, with Red Odeo, I was saying Redodo for the longest time, and I got corrected from them. So there was nobody out there saying it. So, but with lead time there, they had the 24, they had the 36 volt. Everybody else, all these other companies had just 12 volt batteries. So, and they had one of the best budget friendly 36-volt batteries, and theirs is a 55 amp hour too, I think. So you get a little bit more playtime, as where a lot of companies do the 50 amp hour ones, which is perfect for the Newports, because the Newports I think are only about a 27 amp max draw. So, you know, a lot of people assume when they're going to that 24 or 36 volt Newport or Torpedo that they have to get, you know, they're so used to looking at 100 amp hour batteries. You don't have to do that. You know, a 50 amp hour at that 36 volt is the same as that 12 volt at 100 amp hours. You just got to get your max amp draw from whatever motor you're looking at. That's the key. Double that, and that's going to give you plenty of juice.
Yeah. I just don't see the need for going for those expensive batteries, because I mean there are other brands, you know, and I'm not here to talk crap bad on other brands or whatever. But
No.
if you're not, there's no point of spending $1,000 anymore for a 100 amp hour lithium battery like that. I think we're just way past those days.
The guts of the batteries come from the same place.
Yeah.
They're not being sourced here in the US. You're not, you know, like they're all getting them from the same place. They're being packaged. And we both know Wendell. So Wendell had that friend that had his garage burnt down by a battery. That was one of those big name US brands that did that. So you're not really gaining anything by getting those. Some of them may have a longer warranty, but you're talking about 10 versus 20 years too. You like, even at 10 years, that is going to outlast most of what we're using that battery for.
Yeah. A lot of people talk about the warranty things, but like 10 years, and sometimes they're not even full warranties. They're like limited, you know, whatever, or a craftsmanship type of warranty where it's like if we messed up, but we know a guy that burned out his entire garage and it wasn't one of those cheap China batteries.
Yep.
So there's a question from Bucktail real quick.
I would say for the 70 pound, just maybe back it down a little bit after the gas falling out, having too much torque.
And it's with 55 pounds is about the max, at least today, for a kayak. That doesn't mean that's a bad option. It just means that it's like putting, you know, you can put a 10 horse motor on a kayak. You're only going to go so fast. You know, if you've got a good option to have the capability, you got a good price, go with it. People have been cutting down shafts of trolling motors for years and years and years. People have been putting them on canoes for years. Like it's nothing new. It's just, you know, what's coming down the road. I would just caution anybody to go too deep in that budget, knowing that there's probably going to be some good value stuff coming out within the next year or so.
Yeah, that's good. That's good feedback there, because I mean, if you drop $2,000 on this thing, man, you might be getting some good motors coming out. I mean, there's new stuff coming out, especially now that we're halfway to ICAST already.
Yeah.
So which is crazy
come
to
out
think
by
about.
Spring.
See, there you go. Like I said, if you got something that's a few $100, shoot, run it. You know, but the stuff coming out, I've got little information on. Some of it I can't share because I don't want to get the person that tells me about it in trouble. But it's the price point is not going to be bad, but your functionality, I'm excited to see what the functionality is, and the efficiency, is it brushless? How quiet is it? Because let's be honest, the whole purpose of being on a kayak is that stealth factor. And if you're going to put a motor on it that's going to be just loud as you know what, that's where the brushless motors has really kind of taken over, because the XI3, I was a big XI3 fan. I loved that motor, and it's quiet. You can adjust the depth of it. It's simple. It's relatively simple depending on which kayak you're going on. It's simple to rig up, and like you said, the functionality of it, you can you're not going to cover miles and miles with it, obviously, but you can get to your spot, you can troll around, you can lock in a place, and it takes it to a different level. That motor, in my opinion, is what started the kayak motor craze. Is people will hear somebody, or they know somebody that has one, and say, man, I just hit a button and it just holds me in place.
Yeah.
Or I can go over here, I can rig it up, I can hook it up to my fish finder, and I can chart my path in the fish finder, and that motor will take me there. Like it's really, really just been something else.
Yeah, for sure. And Ruben just said, I wish Otown made an upgrade drop motor unit for the autopilot. For sure, bro. That would be, especially like if they could drop in like a 24 volt, that would be everything.
Man. Yeah, get some power to move that bigger kayak.
Yeah, because that thing's a turtle, man.
If you just did that,
stable, but
yeah, if you just did that in the autopilot, you can sell that same kayak for another 5 or 6 years. Like just having a little better power, nobody cares about anymore about, well, I may have to put the battery in a different spot. You got to do that on any kayak. People want that motor. People want to get out of V6s. They want to go to V8s. And you're starting to see motor companies inch that. So, it used to be 35, 35-pound thrust. Now we're up to 55-pound thrust. And then it used to be, 1 horse. Now it's 2 and 3 horse now. So to me, the motors are almost outpacing the kayak design in that aspect, because, you're getting efficiency, you're getting speed, you're getting power. Hull design matters, though. It's with the Ascend 133. That was kind of what got a lot of people into kayak fishing too, with a motor at a good price. But the fact that your max speed on that thing's going to be about 3 miles an hour, there's pedal drives out there that you can get more speed than that. So, that's why I say, it matters how well it paddles, because that is going to tell you a lot about how it goes through the water. That same resistance you get with a paddle in your hand, your motor is going to be fighting that same battle. So,
yeah, for sure, man. And I know we said we were going to talk about some lures. Yo, Juan, you want to drop some of those lures real quick? We're talking about some good lures for stocking stuffers and for buying for. So for me, when I want to buy for my bros that fish, like what's some good lures that I can buy? Like I would buy you. You know what I mean? That maybe you wouldn't have.
Okay. All right. So, not have. Okay. All right. Well, I think that's
so
a little
buy
relative.
something for your buddy that fishes, what's a go-to to buy him?
Okay. So I think one go-to, or I'm gonna go with the 3 that I picked, because we had this conversation a little earlier. Whopper plopper, absolutely has to be like. The reason why I picked Whopper Plopper is because if you go with the official Whopper Plopper, it has a respectable price point. Someone knows you spent a decent amount of money on them, at least $15. So you have a high value lure, right? Also, you can't really do nothing wrong with it. You kind of just cast it, it sits there, you wait for the ripples to float away, and you just reel the bad boy in. You decide how fast or slow you want to reel it in. You might give it a little stop here and there. Other than that, that's it. This yellow color is amazing. It comes in black. And if you get the white one, those are the only 3 colors you need: the yellow, the black, or the white. They come in different lengths. These are the shorter ones, but you cannot go wrong with a Whopper Plopper. My second one was a chatterbait. Chatterbait, because so there's
the OG
right
chatterbait.
Well, that was the reason why I picked it, because it has a various price point, right? So you can go with a more economically friendly version, like $6-7. You're talking about the original OG chatterbait. You get it at Walmart. Very easy to find, right? Essentially, guys, they're a skirted jig, just like you have, your regular jigs, but they have a metal plate on the front, right? So you're usually probably used to looking at something like, sorry, you know, the other jigs that you have, or a bladed jig that you're used to, looks like this, right? So you have this guy, sorry, there's a stinger on here. So you have like something like this. This is like your traditional bladed jig, right? Something just like that. And so this is another style that, so the original style. So these bladed jigs are going to be just like that, but the difference is the metal is going to be right in front. And so these are super cool because these don't have a particular way of fishing them either. You kind of just throw it out there
Yeah.
and you kind of just determine what you want to do. You could start ripping it right off the bat, keep it at the higher end of the water column, or you can let it sink a little bit, let it work the middle. Another technique that I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with is you can try keeping your rod up and try working it, but try working it to the point where it actually doesn't vibrate, where it just moves, just slow enough, and then bring about a vibration. Kill it,
Yeah.
then bring about a
You're not.
vibration.
You're not.
Try a
Yeah.
technique. Yeah, that's a technique I learned. It's cool, and another cool thing about it is you can run them naked. I've run these naked a few times, and I've had really good results. And what I mean by naked, not putting anything on the hook, just tying it up and throwing it. Or
Okay.
you could put different kind of trailers, paddle tails, and whatnot. And I'll go through a quick hack for you guys. So when you guys are putting these on, any kind at all, you just want to put it in the tip, right to the bend of the curve. And what you're going to look for is you're going to look for where is this going to stop at? This is going to have to feed up the hook, and it's going to have to stop somewhere. Where is that going to have to stop? Well, I can see it stops right here. So I'm going to kind of visualize, and I'm going to grab right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that the tip of my hook comes out right above my fingertips. So I'm just going to push that up, and I'm going to feel for that finger, for that tip, and it's going to come out right there. And as long as it comes out right there, I have the confidence that all I have to do is push that up. And as soon as I push that up, it's going to be exactly where I need it to be every single time. And
Right.
last one is going to be your.
Before you get to the last one, wife calling me home said, "Don't go cheap on me, Juan. Better
was
be a
seeing that.
jackhammer in my stocking for Christmas."
You already
So your
know.
sponsor's
Yeah.
calling you out, bro. You better get him a jackhammer.
You already know. You already know, John. I got you. So yeah, he's funny. So another thing too, guys. A last little trick for the chatterbait here. I just want to show you guys. Use a crawl sometimes. Sometimes a crawl. I'll take this off of here. Sometimes what you could do is look at me wasting baits for you guys because this is a jackhammer. So these rip them up when you take them off. But so you have your crawl, right? And so what you're going to do is instead of putting your crawl like this, you might want to trim it too, depending. But I'm not going to do that here. What we're going to do is we're just going to put it parallel. So it sits like this. Oh, sorry. I'm not looking at my screen. So it's going to sit like that. So normally you would put it like this, but we don't want that. We don't want this to be flat like that. We want these crawl things to stick up. And what's going to happen when we do that? And again, we're going to do what I just told you guys. So the only difference is we're going to go sideways, right? So instead of the hook coming out the top of the profile, it's going to come out the side where the legs are. So you're going to put it right in, right to the base of the tip there, or right to the base of the bend of the hook. Going to keep, it looks like right above that last leg. There's three
So you're
little
running the
legs.
crawl sideways.
Yep, running
For
across
the people that
sideways.
are not watching, they're listening.
Yep, running across sideways. And what that's going to do, push that up on there. So remember, this skirt is for profile purposes, right? So as this runs through the water, this is going to run through the water, but this is going to kick up as well. And when that kicks up, that's going to look more like a fishtail than anything. So depending on what color you use, whether you're using, depending on what you're after, that could help fill that profile that you're going for overall when that comes through the water and it just looks like a tail. So that's a trick that you could do. You could also use swim baits on these, very versatile. So these without the tail, ones with the tail, crawls, put them sideways, get freaky with it.
First one, so whopper plopper,
Yep.
jackhammer,
Yep.
or chatterbait, right? Chatterbait, jackhammer. Yep. What's number 3?
Number 3 is going to be your favorite style of paddle tail. And the reason why I picked it, The reason why I picked this one is because I feel like this one is the easiest, and it's the easiest. It's also the most satisfying, and it's also the most effective, especially for your beginners, right? Once I figured this out with Jay, you couldn't take me off of this thing. There was not a time I was going out fishing and I was not throwing this thing. And every time I caught a fish, he'll ask me, he'd be like, "Let me guess, was it on that?" And I was like, "Yep." Couldn't believe it. So they come in very different, various different styles. Here's a Kitech small pack. I have some 6 cents here. The Strike King I even have sitting here, right? So just find something that you like. I'll open these Strike Kings right here. And the hook that you're gonna look for is just like this.
So
It's a
just
ball
okay,
style hook,
just
a
a
ball
jig head.
jig. That's it. Some of them come with little eyeballs, nothing crazy. And just how I showed you before. And the nice thing about this one, it's silent, super finessey. So there's nothing but vibration going on, and the vibration is going to come from the tail, and that's it. So all
Yeah.
you're going to do is just like I showed you guys before, go right in the the tip, right so you get to the base. And I'm kind of looking at where I'm holding the end of the right where this would run into. I can see that's right about there. So I'm going to push that right down to about that point. Push my hook out right above my fingertips, and every single time it'll come out absolutely to perfection. And that's how you do that. That's how you get that absolutely perfect every time. And you just toss this out. This is a great search bait. You want to figure out what the structure's feeling like, what's going on around you. Just take this, throw this out there, keep your rod tip relatively low, and when you feel that dump, dump, dump,
And
just
yeah,
lift your rod tip up
and you
and
could
just
fish
hold
it
on.
at any part of the water column too, which is really nice.
Yeah, you could throw it in there, give it a 1-2 count, and reel it in. That doesn't work. Give it a 5-second count, 6, 7, 8, whatever. You could search, you could find anything you need, and if you are having trouble catching any kind of fish at all in any kind of body of water, this is it. I guarantee.
Yeah. So if you guys
Uh,
missed this, Kitech, I love.
yeah,
So he got the was it the Rage Swimmer on there,
this
right? But I
this
like
was the
Kitech.
Rage Swimmer. Yeah, but you know what? And if you guys really want to make sure you get some hookups, anything between 2.5 to 3.5 inches.
Yeah.
Coming into the fall, out of the spring, something natural colored. White works amazing,
Yeah.
depending, the time of year. But you cannot go wrong with those three. If you're not catching fish, get those 3 baits, spend some time on the water, and then come holler at me.
Christina, what do you usually throw?
Ooh, paddle tails, and
Yep.
specifically the Kitech in the smallmouth magic. I don't know why that color absolutely
Natural
kills it
color.
for me.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I like a lot is the Rage baby bugs. I love those things on a river. And then the other thing that's kind of our new go-to are Hellgrammites.
Okay.
And
Yes.
and I actually rig my Hellgrammite like you rig your craw. I rig it through the
Sideways.
side. My hookup ratio has just gone through the roof. I don't know
It
why.
keeps them flatter.
I actually learned that from John that does Creek Fishing Adventures. When he does the Hellgrammite, he started hooking it through the side, and just
It
you're
blends
still
in with
doing
the
it
leg.
kind of like a Texas rig. You're doing it with an offset hook, but you're just right along the side of the body. And when they bite it and you're pulling away, it seems you seem to get that
Hookup
top
ratios.
hook a lot better than that
Yep.
side hook. Yeah, that's
That's awesome. Do you guys? So when you fish a Hellgrammite, is it like on like a Ned rig type of mushroom head, or is it on a ball head?
I use an offset jig head.
Okay.
It's the
Like a swing head?
It's a blockhead,
Yeah.
and it's just like a Ned rig, except it's got that little offset, and that way you're able
Is
to
it
do.
swing
It's
or
basically
no?
like doing a Ned rig but weedless.
Is it the fixed version? Is it the fixed head or is it a swivel head or a
It's a
swing
fixed
head?
head. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the ones I use. The ones I like the most are Owner. A company called Owner makes them.
I
Owner
wonder.
blockhead.
You're making me wonder what a Hellgrammite rigged like that would be on a swing head if you just let it sit on the bottom, catching the drift like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what you're making me think because of those.
Yeah. And
yeah, smallmouth candy.
Yes.
When we get desperate, because like he'll have the blockheads, but he's pretty notorious for losing those things.
Yeah.
And so I actually just rig them on an offset hook that's like a 1/0 and have a weight with it. And so that works just as well, for me at least.
Like a Texas rig style.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We killed smallmouth this year.
Yep.
We both had a really good smallmouth. Even on the lake for me, which was weird. We did a night fishing, just a night fishing trip. And we were both doing the tournament. It was a month-long tournament, best 5 fish, any body of water in this area. And we did the lake. My top 5 fish, 4 of them were smallies.
Nice.
They were all the same size, which is weird. Every one of them was 16 inches. And then I caught just under a 17-incher largemouth, but every one of them was 16 inches. I called like 3 of them, and those were 16 inches. Like it was the weirdest thing. And then there's always the ones that got away this year. There was definitely plenty of those for me. So
Weren't all those on chatterbait also?
yes. Chatterbait
real quick.
Evos. Chatterbait Evos.
Too. Going right back, being that I ruined this lure too. All those guys seeing those new setups. What is that called? Is it called the that forward facing setup rig? Which is it's just this. I don't know why they gave it a new name. But if you guys are trying to get into that mix a little bit, or you want to start tight lining a bit of these minnows, the way you've been seeing a lot of these guys win all these tournaments this past year, they've been using these style with the same head that I just showed you before, that jig head, doing that same technique, and that's what they've been resulting in, and that's what it's been looking like. Those traditional, because this is a little
now everything's forward facing sonar.
But
sonar minnow.
and yeah, the sonar minnow. But and Jake too, when he was doing those stripers and fishing for those stripers with the forward facing sonar, this was the setup he was using in muddy water without, I mean, not this colorway, of course, but that was it. And I hear the better head that you have, the easier it is for you to, read the water. So something, bigger like that.
Yeah.
As opposed to that small
I always
stuff.
like
But
using a light colored minnow with a dark colored head. That's always worked for me. But yeah, just like I was telling her, when I first got her started, we were just mainly focusing on creature baits, Texas rigged. That way she's not getting hung up and all this. And then she really, I hit the chatterbait by year before last, I believe so. Yeah. Man, it was the first jackhammer I ever bought. And then I just started catching them like crazy. Either I'd get followers, I'd get takers. Then, like you were saying, pausing it. And then, I'd even just kind of whip it a little bit, just kind of get that chatter, let it fall. Usually you will get the bite on the fall.
On that little
pause.
Fall.
Because I learned that when watching one follow it all the way to the kayak and then breaking off and then thinking, okay, then seeing it again and then stopping and then the attacks because they're wanting that easy meal. They may not want to chase it. So
another area that I saw that they worked really well is the anything towards the evening. Bass love to come up on those banks and those shorelines, and they love to bum rush those bait fish. And anytime like that last hour and a half, when they start to pull up and they start to feed, bruh, you just take a chatterbait and you run it down the shoreline around some grass lines, bruh, and you just get ready to hold on, especially if you can start feeling like a little bit of that grass and brush. Let it trickle right over that, boy, and you feel that thump, makes you just hold on. Because
it's a different bite too, though.
It is because you feel it vibrating, and you don't know if that stop was because you ran into something or what's going on. So you kind of keep going, and the next thing you know, you get that tug, and you're like, wait a second, and then you're not sure if you want to set the hook yet. It's crazy. I've lost a few at first.
Yeah.
Wow.
What you were just saying, that's actually, and Andy knows this whenever we're on the lake, especially, I get skunked until that last hour, which is exactly it. They're bum rushing, going toward the shoreline, and that is when I'm fishing. Paddle tails work just as well. That's what I found out was paddle tails and chatterbaits.
Yes.
They work just as
Yes.
well, and that is when I'm killing it.
Me
The
too.
paddle tail is what I
always
usually
feeling that
have on the
hour.
chatterbait. So that's
Mhm.
you get that good little action on the end of it, and it gets them, gets them up, and then you get that vibration that just drives them nuts.
And you know what? I feel like all right, so for the guys that are going to try it for the first time, the paddle tail gives you a little more stability as
Yep.
far as when you cast it and you want it to stay along that column, you'll get a more stable but very vibrating, outputting bait. When you switch it to this, hit my mic. When you switch it to this style with no paddle on the end, it's still going to move across that, but when it does, it's going to move so erratically. It's going to be crazy. That tail's going to be kicking because there's not going to be any resistance back there. It's just going to be all this heavy meat up front getting resisted by that blade. And it's just going to, man, this tail thing is going to be going nuts. So you get a lot of big reaction bites that way. As where with the paddle, you get like a lot more followers and, creepers and whatnot. So it's fun, man. Y'all got to play with them. Play with them. They're the best. And
I
play
always
with them
like
on both
starting
styles.
with the chatterbait. I always like getting them riled up, and then if you're not getting anything with it, then going with a finesse bait, or then going with maybe just the paddle tail on the jig head. I recently this last year had a lot of luck on like a weightless trick worm and a bright color. So watching that fall. Just fall, throw it along a brush line, watching it fall, and then watching it just disappear when something, especially, right before sundown, when, like you said, they're patrolling those brush, looking for those bait fish, and just seeing something fall, not necessarily like a Cinco, but, just kind of got a different fall to it. It looks like something they're looking for anyway. And that weightless trick worm, robo worms, I kind of use those too.
Yeah, that was going to be my other chick point or pick, but absolutely,
bring it out.
absolutely. Now this was like a bomb episode, man. It surprises me how fast these things.
I know we're about to get 2 hours in right here.
It's freaking nuts.
So before we get to the dad jokes, the funny or crummy, you guys, anything you want to add, Christina, Andy, for gifts, or just like it could be whatever. So I just appreciate you guys coming back on because it's been
man.
Before you came on, Christina, we're talking to Andy about how I think it was like episode 2 or 3 that you guys came on, and now we're on 17. So moving on up.
Love it. My big thing is whoever you're buying for, know who you're buying for, know what they're interested in. That's I guess the biggest thing is just knowing what they want, what they're interested in. He's easy to buy for because he tells me all the time what he wants.
Nice. So it's not a mystery.
No.
A good trick could be too, like I don't know how many of you guys have like a Cabela's or Bass Pro, or I don't know where you do your lure shopping at.
Oh yeah, we have the home office here in Springfield, Missouri for Bass Pro. It's got its own zip code.
Yeah, go out there with like wives. By the way, this is a wife advice. Go out there with your husband and just if he tends to roam that aisle, let him roam the aisle.
Yeah.
Don't let him buy anything, but just watch what he touches. Watch what he picks up at, and then play stupid.
Yep.
There's nothing like naiveness, man, to get you through. Next time he's watching, or just act stupid. Hey, what was that lure? Whatever, and then boom, and that's it. And you'll figure it out from there.
It's a good pointer.
Yeah. Or Yak Attack gift card, as we learned, because Yak Attack dominated the list.
Yes.
They're coming out with seat cushions now too, so they're doing everything. So I got a dad joke.
Memory foam.
Oh, okay.
So,
oh boy,
what do you call a snake that likes to build homes?
What?
A boa constrictor.
That's a good one, bro. I'm gonna use that in one of my videos.
Yeah,
boa constrictor. That's good.
I had to come on here with one. So
heck yeah, bro. It's so funny. I was gonna text you too. I was gonna tell you to come with a dad joke, and you already knew.
Yeah, I'm prepared.
So
We
that's the
had
perfect
one.
way.
I'm texting my wife for a joke as we speak.
Yeah,
We-
okay.
We'll have to do some searching, but him and I had a really, really good one. I can't remember it, but we'll have to do some searching, and I'll get back to you on that one.
It was appropriate. It was appropriate.
Yeah. All right, so that's the perfect segment then for the funny or crummy. So we got a couple of jokes that came in. So first one from Top Shelf Fishing. He said, "What do you need to make Thanksgiving s'mores?" Pilgrim.
I'm sorry. I started reading it first.
Timely joke. Good job, bro.
All right. All right.
All right. Jonathan Krause said, "Why are fish so smart? Because they live in schools."
That's
All
true.
right.
That's true.
That's a solid
see.
dad joke.
Yeah. So another one from Jonathan. I don't know why my fishing buddy's always worried about the recent flu virus. He never catches anything.
That's good.
I like that.
That's like that joke I heard, like, oh, my buddy's fishing spot is so good, not even the fish know about it. I've had a few of those moments for sure.
Another one. Every morning I plan to make pancakes, but I keep waffling. Nice. All right, last one. What do you call a nose with no body? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Oh, that's good. Nobody.
That's a good one,
knows.
John. Nobody knows.
That's
Oh,
good.
man.
I like that.
All right, yo, I appreciate both of you coming on. Thank you so much. We're gonna have to do it again because
Yeah,
you guys
absolutely.
are like a wealth of knowledge. So
Yeah, especially
so-
especially on all the kayak stuff.
yeah.
I
All the
stay
other
in
brands.
it. I mean, a lot of us that know about kayaks don't work in kayaks. So, but it was a blessing to work in the industry and get to know so many people. And it's amazing because like when you look at, because we started with our kayaks and then realizing that there's such a huge expansive world of kayaks and it's just gone crazier and crazier. Three or 4 years ago, I never thought that we would be putting motors on them. Like we said before, people have been putting trolling motors and outboards on canoes for decades. So it's not anything new, but when you tell people, hey, you can fish off of this, they're going to find ways to do more and more and cover more ground. And, it's been a great thing. It's also been it's gotten out of hand to an extent, as like we were talking about earlier, is some companies have gone a little too deep into that and kind of forgotten, because those are nice to sell, but they don't pay the bills. The bills get paid by those volume boats, those boats that are being sold all the time, instead of that, few, heavy duty editions that, that come out. So that's what I'd like to see a lot of these go to, is just, get back to getting people into kayak fishing and not just catering to those that are been in it and, work themselves up to, a Hobie or an Old Town or anything. So
Yeah. Now with the adjustments of like the market's making, like I'm interested in seeing what the next year or two are going to bring.
Yeah, with the exception of a couple of motorized kayaks, I'd see it taking a step back as far as, focus more on the value on what you get and not, what can we put on this kayak, is what can we give for the same price range that nobody else is giving. That is what sells. That is, everybody's got a $3,000 and $4,000 kayak that they're selling. What do you get with company A versus company B? That is going to start steering people, I think.
Yeah.
Real quick. I got that message back from my wife, and the
Hey,
joke is,
One more.
what do you call a song about a tortilla? A rap.
A wrap.
Yeah, you already know. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
I gotta end that on a good note.
Yeah. So my daughter, all right, since everyone brought one, I'll bring one. So this one, my daughter brought this one to me, and they are the best. My kids are the best source of dad jokes. So she came. She's 9 years old, super innocent, and she came and she's like, "Daddy, what kind of bees make milk?" I was like, "I don't know." She said, "Boobies." I was like, dude, that is the funniest thing.
Yo, real quick.
She said she told it to a little boy in her class and he didn't get it. I was like, good.
Yeah. He will.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I read one earlier. I was watching some YouTube reels, and I saw this. I thought it was funny. Was why is it cheaper to throw a party at a haunted house? Because the ghosts bring all the booze.
Ah, booze,
Okay.
baby.
I was like, that's solid.
Why do fish?
That's solid.
Why do fish? This is for my wife again, by the way. Why do fish always know how much they weigh? Because they always have their own scales.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah. All right,
Jay,
guys.
I think your kids won that one hands down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're gonna have to text me that one.
Yeah.
Undisputed.
All right, guys.
Awesome.
So if you guys don't already follow the Bearded Paddler, make sure you do on all the socials. We have it linked below. Of course, Juan, myself, and Christina. Thank you again for jumping on, guys. I appreciate y'all. And
always good to talk to you,
It's a
man.
record episode, man.
yeah.
And if it's
heck
not,
yeah.
their episode was the longest, probably.
This is probably we're creeping into 2 hours.
It's good quality.
Yeah.
You know.
That's right. Yeah,
Always,
it wasn't a bunch of
always.
fluff. All right. So until
Thank you,
next time,
guys.
guys. Peace and God bless.
Peace.